Today on October 20, a spell was cast on your house. IT will activate in 45 seconds unless you break IT. Archangel Michael is trying to show you who left IT. Open this now. On the morning of October 20, a silence fell. Not the silence of routine or sleep, but a spiritual stillness. It did not echo like normal quiet. It pressed against windows, settled on doorways, and weighed down the atmosphere like thick smoke that had no scent. It was the kind of silence only the spirit could feel. You did not imagine it. You felt it. Something was released in the unseen, and the day itself, October 20, was marked not by man, but by heaven. This was not a coincidence. It was a divine timestamp. And now you are here, not by chance, but by calling. At the precise hour that your spirit grew uneasy, something was spoken into the atmosphere, not with a voice, but with intent. It was a word wrapped in envy, projected by a presence you once trusted. A spell? Yes, a spiritual charge was assigned to your dwelling. Not to frighten you, but to confuse. Not to destroy, but to delay. It is the spirit of confusion, of closed doors, of sudden fatigue, of wandering thought, of forgotten prayers. But it was seen before it was sent. Archangel Michael, the watcher of gates, the defender of thrones, drew his sword at the moment of release. You were not left uncovered. The heavens already prepared for what the earth would attempt. And this message, this divine warning, is not for everyone. Not everyone will feel what you've been feeling. Not everyone will pause in stillness and perceive the weight on the air. This is for the ones who felt it in their bones before they even knew what it was. The ones who felt the shift, that sudden drop in energy, the restless dreams, the pressure in the chest without cause. Your silence right now is your defense. Your stillness is your sword. For in this silence, the Spirit of God is searching. Heaven is observing. Your obedience, your pause to listen, is being recorded. And the question remains, will you discern the call? Or will you ignore the whisper? Heaven is watching to see what you choose. Type I will listen if you're receiving this warning now. Blessing code 444 is over your doorway. In the next 45 seconds, something spiritual stirs, not to harm, but to expose. These are not idle words. These are not metaphors. This is not poetry. This is a spiritual activation, and the countdown has already begun. In the realm of the unseen, where shadows whisper and altars bleed with unauthorized intentions, time bends to obedience, and right now, heaven has issued a notice. Not a suggestion, not a warning, but a summon. Archangel Michael, the defender of light, the prince of heavenly hosts, the breaker of curses, and the sword-bearer of the Most High, has stepped into the spiritual perimeter of your life. His wings stretch wide over the roof of your home. His eyes pierce through every spiritual veil. His presence is not passive. It is intentional. It is divine intervention. Not because you were in danger, but because the spell was noticed before it could settle. Hear this clearly. What was cast against your home was never permitted to take root. It was allowed to reveal the intent of the sender, not to fulfill the assignment. This is not an attack. It is a test. This is not warfare meant to destroy. It is warfare allowed to disclose. The spell has no permanent power, but it will expose the source if you remain spiritually awake. Listen, not with your ears, but with your spirit. This message isn't reaching just anyone. It's not on your screen by coincidence or curiosity. No. This word has been assigned to the called, not the comfortable, the chosen, not the common. And you, beloved, have been summoned, not because you are weak, but because you are awakening. The unrest in your sleep, the sudden pull to isolate, the moments where joy flickered without cause, those were not accidents. Those were ripples of a spiritual charge attempting to disguise itself as coincidence. But heaven doesn't deal in coincidence. This moment is holy. This moment is marked. The air is different because the atmosphere has been pierced, not by human hands, but by divine urgency. And in the next 45 seconds, the spell that was released is either broken by your awareness or activated by your apathy. That is not fear. That is fact. So hear the voice of Michael, for he does not speak often, but when he does, it is final. Awaken, child of God. The one who watches your walls has not slumbered. The one who called your name in the courts of heaven has remembered. The seal on your life has not broken, but the shadow has tried to imitate the light. And I have come to draw the line. Do not fear what has come to be exposed. Fear only your silence. The spell is a liar, but you must not remain ignorant of its existence. Every demonic projection against your name must bow in the presence of one thing: truth. And now, the truth has entered your atmosphere. It is divine intelligence from the Most High. It is spiritual surveillance from the realm of light. And it is speaking now. You were never meant to fear this night. You were meant to witness divine exposure. You were meant to stand still while the veil was torn. You were meant to feel the chill and still say, God is with me. The spell is not your prison. It is your proof. Proof that something hidden is about to be brought into unshakable light. Not all will understand this message. But if your spirit is trembling right now, if your body is alert, if your eyes are wide and your breath is short, it is not panic. It is the presence. It is the spiritual alarm sounding over your house. The time is no longer coming. The time is now. Heaven is speaking. Michael is watching. And the truth is standing at your door. Type I receive light in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this. Blessing code 777 is covering your entrance. Someone spoke your name in darkness, but heaven wrote it in light. That is why you're here right now. You didn't stumble upon this message. Your spirit was drawn into it. Because something shifted in the realm around you, and your soul, alert and unshaken, picked it up. Yes, there has been a betrayal. Not always by words, but by spirit. Someone you knew. Someone who knew your laughter, your tears, your rhythm. Your rhythm twisted your peace into a point of entry. And the moment they thought you let your guard down, they moved in silence. It wasn't just a bad dream. It wasn't just fatigue. It wasn't just confusion. These were the first signs of the spell. Not a fairy tale enchantment, but a real, spiritual projection. A word forged in jealousy, carried by bitterness, and planted with precision. Its purpose wasn't to destroy immediately, no. It was to disrupt, to confuse, to shake your sense of discernment just enough that you would begin to doubt yourself, question your clarity, and second-guess the presence of God in your midst. You may have noticed strange behavior, sudden coldness in someone's tone, rooms that felt different, flickers of shadow at the edge of your vision, doors that creaked where they never had before, sleep that would not settle, peace that could not anchor. These are not symptoms of stress. These are symptoms of spiritual surveillance. There has been movement, not by God's hand, but by unauthorized forces testing your boundaries. They watched you. They observed. They thought your silence was weakness. They thought your withdrawal was defeat. They thought the delay in your life meant that your protection had lapsed. But they misunderstood the silence. They misread the stillness. What they failed to realize is that your stillness was not surrender. It was divine recalibration. You were not falling apart. You were being hidden by the Most High while heaven prepared your defense. Let this be clear. The one who left the residue, the one who whispered the intent, the one who moved objects or cursed rooms or stirred atmospheres, they did it believing you would not notice. They believed you would go on, blind and numb, never feeling what they set in motion. But the presence of Archangel Michael hovering above your dwelling has interrupted their scheme. The clock on their curse is broken. The curse cannot claim what God has already sealed. And yet, you can feel it, can't you? The questions rise in your mind. Who is it? Why now? Why me? You feel their memory linger in your space. You hear their name surfacing in your dreams. You see their behavior playing back in subtle detail. The spell was designed to hide their identity, but heaven is about to reveal it. The betrayal wasn't random. It was targeted. It came at a moment when your light was beginning to shine brighter than they could handle. You didn't change. You grew. You didn't fall. You elevated. And their spirit couldn't stand the transformation. Now the Spirit of God is stirring the air. A veil is lifting. And the spiritual surveillance assigned to your home is about to return to sender. Their intent will be exposed. The hidden will be revealed. The one who cast it will stand unmasked. Be still now. Let heaven finish what has already begun. You will not need to search. The name will come to you. The moment your heart is still enough and your spirit is ready, revelation will enter your space like a flame. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. As this divine message stirs your spirit and opens your eyes to the battle behind the veil, know this: you are not alone in this war. Every time you support this mission, whether through a super thanks, a membership, or even a gift through PayPal, you're not just helping a channel. You are planting seed in sacred soil. You're helping God's word reach the exact people the enemy hoped would stay blind. This is not a donation. It is a divine act of spiritual warfare. Scripture says, He gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. And when you sow here, heaven sees. If this word is confirmation for you, I invite you to take a prophetic step. The PayPal link is in the video description below. Your giving moves more than algorithms. It moves angels. Stand with the word. Support the mission. Strike back at darkness. Let it be made clear, what you are experiencing is not random. The sudden stillness, the unusual disruptions, the eerie quiet, the confusion that tries to coil itself around your thoughts. This is not simply life. It is spiritual positioning. It is heaven permitting an encounter so that something hidden might be fully exposed. And yes, a spell was cast. Yes, a word was released against your house. But what they fail to understand, what the enemy never seems to grasp, is that God always uses the assault as the announcement. The attack is the alarm. The darkness was allowed, not to destroy you, but to reveal the level of glory now seated upon your life. This is how heaven moves, not by preventing storms, but by commanding peace in the middle of them. And so what the enemy designed as a trap, heaven has already turned into a testimony. But make no mistake, child of the Most High, this is a war. Not against flesh and blood, but against spirits that hate your authority. You were chosen, and because you were chosen, darkness was permitted to test the borders. Not because you were unprotected, but because your protection was about to become public. The conflict you feel is not just spiritual opposition. It is divine promotion hidden inside pressure. Every wave that's tried to knot you down has also been lifting you higher in the unseen realm. Heaven allows confrontation, not to punish, but to confirm your authority. And that's what this is. This moment, this day, this divine appointment on October 20. This is a confirmation that what they tried to do in darkness could not remain hidden because of the weight of glory on your name. What they spoke against you, it was recorded. What they thought they whispered in private, heaven heard it aloud. While they moved in jealousy and witchcraft, heaven moved in mercy and justice. While they stirred words of sabotage, angels began taking note. And I tell you now, heaven watches. Heaven records. Heaven responds. You may not have seen the attack with your natural eyes, but your spirit felt it. You may not have had the evidence in your hand, but your sleep was broken, your discernment awakened, your atmosphere shifted. That's the evidence. That's the signal. That's the sound of a spiritual battle raging outside your door, and heaven letting you in on the secret. But hear this, God is not intimidated by what was sent against you. And neither should you be. You are not the victim in this narrative. You are the vessel of revelation. What was done in the shadows was only allowed to stand long enough so the glory of God could make it crumble publicly. This is why you were feeling what you've been feeling. This is why confusion tried to come in waves. This is why silence hung in the air like smoke. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Preparation for confrontation. Preparation for authority. Preparation for justice. And yes, Archangel Michael is here. Still watching. Still surrounding. Still ready to strike if unauthorized spirits attempt to linger too long in your space. Because the Lord has declared this space seal. This house covered. This soul marked by the blood and the word. They touch the boundary, but they cannot cross the covenant. So breathe. Do not panic. This battle is not about your defeat. It's about your distinction. You are marked. You are noticed. And now, you are being vindicated. Heaven is not just responding. Heaven is revealing why they came against you in the first place. Your light made them speak. Your growth made them stir. But it will be their exposure that confirms your elevation. Type I am covered in the comments if you feel heaven's confirmation. Blessing code 1212 is now surrounding your spiritual territory. Listen closely. Something is coming. The spell that was cast on your house did not find a place to rest. It was intercepted. It was confronted. But it has not been completely silenced yet. There is a reason your sleep has been disturbed. There is a reason your thoughts have been louder than usual. There is a reason you've been more aware, more alert, more sensitive to every shift in the atmosphere. It's because the spiritual realm around you is no longer still. It's moving. Something unseen is drawing near to your space, not to enter, but to be exposed. In the next few hours, you will notice signs. This is not dramatic exaggeration. This is divine intelligence. You may feel a sudden chill in a room that was warm. A flicker in the lights when there's no logical cause. A sudden insight in your mind that seems to come from nowhere. You may feel pressure in the air, like something is watching or waiting. These are not tricks. These are tactical signals. Heaven is preparing to reveal, and the closer the exposure comes, the more the atmosphere will tremble under the weight of truth. The time frame has been set. Within 72 hours, full exposure begins. Not partial. Not symbolic. Full. The name will rise. The source will be identified. But you must remain spiritually grounded, or you will miss the moment. This isn't about vengeance. This is about divine strategy. God does not reveal just to satisfy your curiosity. He reveals to shift your position, to sharpen your discernment, and to elevate your authority. When the exposure comes, it will not come with thunder. It will come like a whisper, but it will strike like fire. Whoever released the projection, the spell, the curse, the word of sabotage, is beginning to feel the pressure. They can sense their hold breaking. The energy they tried to tether to your home is unraveling. And because of this, there may be attempts to reconnect. A text, a call, a strange message, a subtle visit. Do not engage. This is not reconciliation. It is reconnaissance. They are not returning in repentance. They are returning to see if their influence still works. But their presence carries residue. And heaven is telling you now, do not let it back in. You don't need to accuse. You don't need to call them out. You don't need to prove that you know. Let the Spirit do what your words never could. Let God deal with what the enemy tried to send. Because the closer the exposure gets, the more the environment around you will tighten. That tightening, that's not fear. That's revelation approaching. It's the unseen realm adjusting to make room for truth. You've asked, why did this happen now? And here is your answer. Because your authority has increased. Because your light has reached new levels. Because your name has come up in the courts of heaven. And the enemy, knowing this, launched a final attempt to delay you. But he moved too late. Heaven already had you sealed. Michael already had you marked. And the spell, instead of stopping you, became the key that triggered exposure. But not all will be revealed at once. The name, the root, the intention, it will come when your spirit is calm enough to see. Your rest will become the stage for their reveal. And when it comes, it will not shake you. It will settle you. Because what was hidden will no longer have power. It will be a name with no authority, a face with no access, a spirit with no entry point. So watch, wait, listen, and stay hidden in obedience. The hour of revelation is upon you. You are not being haunted. You are being honored with truth. Type I am ready in the comments if you feel this moment was designed for you. Blessing code 888 is releasing divine insight over your atmosphere. Be still now. Heaven fights when you don't. This is not the hour for retaliation. This is not the moment for confrontation. You are not called to shout at shadows or chase down names. You are not called to fight with your hands or defend yourself with explanations. You are called to stand still under the covering of God's presence and let the angelic realm handle what was sent against you. When Archangel Michael draws his sword, you do not run. You do not explain. You do not plea. You remain silent and let the war be waged in the spirit. The spell that was cast on your house, it's not lingering out of power, it's lingering out of desperation. The spirit behind it is frantic, agitated, trying to find a crack, a door, a response. But you must not give it language. You must not empower it by speaking on it with flesh. This is where your obedience becomes your shield. This is where your silence becomes your sword. When you speak too soon, you invite delay. When you react in emotion, you give access. But when you wait in stillness, you deny darkness a foothold. Let the atmosphere be cleansed now, not with chaos, but with consecration. Anoint your doorposts. Bless your threshold. Speak the blood of Jesus over every room. Walk your home not in fear, but in authority. This is not superstition. This is spiritual strategy. Your space is a sanctuary, and nothing unclean has legal access to remain. Speak life. Pray softly. Move quietly. This is not a time for volume. This is a time for presence. Heaven has assigned angels to surround your space, but your awareness is what makes the protection impenetrable. You don't need to explain what's happening. You don't need to post about it or warn others or accuse anyone. Heaven is already exposing. What you must do now is guard the portal of your own spirit. Keep your mind stayed on truth. Keep your mouth sealed in peace. Say nothing to anyone yet. Your quiet is your covering. Repeat these affirmations now, not just with your mouth, but with your heart. I am hidden in divine light. I dwell in the secret place of the Most High. No spoken curse can stand against the seal. What was meant to harm me has been seen and blocked. I am covered, claimed, and cleansed. These are not just words. These are spiritual decrees. When you declare them, you build a wall around your space that no spell can penetrate. The spirits that tried to enter now tremble at your awareness. The sender is restless, because the silence on your end is echoing louder than any retaliation. What they wanted was reaction. But what they're getting is divine restraint, and that is far more terrifying to darkness. Be observant in this next phase. Watch the behaviors of those around you. Listen, but do not speak too quickly. The Lord will show you signs, patterns, confirmations, but don't rush it. Discernment grows in quiet rooms. Revelation flows through still hearts. The more silent you are, the louder heaven speaks. The more surrendered you are, the more clearly you see. You are not defenseless. You are defended. You are not under siege. You are under angelic surveillance. There are angels standing on every corner of your dwelling now. They do not sleep. They do not leave. They have been assigned, and heaven does not miss a sign. So again, I tell you, be still. Not in fear, but in holy anticipation. The truth is unfolding. The light is growing stronger. The spell is weakening. And soon, the very atmosphere around your home will shift completely. The safest place to be right now is not in control. It's in obedience. Type "I am hidden in light" in the comments to seal this moment. Blessing Code 1010 is now forming a divine perimeter around you. Now hear this clearly. You are not who you were when this began. The energy that once made you tremble now fuels your transformation. The fear that tried to find a home in your heart has been replaced with divine fire. Every night of unrest, every whisper of confusion, every moment where you questioned your strength, all of it was forging you. You are no longer the same spirit that darkness tried to deceive. You have been refined. You have been strengthened. And the light in you now burns hotter than any curse could endure. You see, child of the Most High, the enemy underestimated you. They mistook your stillness for surrender. They mistook your silence for defeat. But in the secret chambers of your heart, heaven was writing your identity. You are not being weakened. You were being rearmed. What was meant to silence you became your training ground. What was meant to bind you became your awakening. What was sent to break you only exposed the strength you had been hiding all along. Listen, the attack revealed your elevation. The warfare was proof of your worth. Heaven never allows a storm without an assignment. And this storm came not to destroy, but to distinguish you. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under watch because you are rising. The darkness recognized what even you had not yet fully seen, that you are carrying something heaven intends to release on the earth. You are a vessel of awakening, and every trial has been shaping your authority for this moment. Do you feel it? The air is different now. The heaviness has started to lift. Not because the battle has ended, but because your stance has changed. You are not looking up in fear. You are standing tall in faith. The trembling has turned to stillness, and stillness has turned to strength. You have become untouchable, not because of your power, but because of your alignment. Heaven recognizes those who refuse to bow to fear. And now, so does darkness. Think of gold in the fire. It does not complain as it melts. It transforms. It becomes purer, brighter, more valuable with each second of heat. That is you. You have walked through fire, and you have not been consumed. The flames did not destroy you. They revealed the refined version of your calling. The spell was never the threat. Your awakening was. You are the evidence that no darkness can extinguish the one whom heaven has anointed. And now, Archangel Michael stands not as your rescuer, but as your witness. He has seen your endurance. He has seen your obedience. He has seen you remain when others would have fled. And now, his sword is lowered not in warning, but in acknowledgement. The war has turned. The enemy has realized that their scheme not only failed, it backfired. Every whisper spoken against you has become the echo of their defeat. Stand in this revelation. Stand in the awareness that you are no longer vulnerable. You are awakened. You are no longer seeking protection. You are walking in it. The light that surrounds you is no longer defensive. It is offensive. It pushes darkness back. It exposes what hides. It draws angels to your path. You are not waiting for rescue. You are standing in victory already written. This is the shift. From trembling to triumph. From reaction to rule. From victim to vessel. This is your moment to declare, I am not attacked. I am a sign. And when you speak those words, every remaining residue of darkness will retreat, for they recognize authority when they hear it. The heavens celebrate your endurance. The earth will soon see your elevation. You have stepped into the light of divine dominion, and from this point forward, the shadows no longer intimidate you. They announce you. Type I am awakened in the comments if your spirit feels this shift. Blessing code 1444 is now releasing empowerment into your atmosphere. There is a moment in every spiritual war when the atmosphere no longer trembles with tension, but vibrates with truth. That moment is now. You've endured the spell. You've withstood the silence. You've walked through confusion, betrayal, and exposure. And now the revelation comes. Not as a whisper, not as a mystery, but as a decree from heaven. This wasn't sent to break you. This was sent to mark you. Yes, the spell that was released on October 20 was real. It was cast with intent. It was planted with precision. But it never touched your destiny. It didn't come to stay. It came to reveal what was hidden. That projection was not a final word. It was a spiritual signal. A siren in the spirit realm alerting heaven that it was time to move on your behalf. What the enemy meant as a curse became the trigger for divine confrontation. And Archangel Michael did not just watch it fall. He stood at the gates of your home and broke it open with fire. You need to understand this. The spell did not settle in your walls. It bounced off the shield placed around you. And in the very moment it tried to root, heaven reversed it. The curse activated, but it never took hold. That's why you felt strange, not because the enemy succeeded, but because the spiritual resistance around you was active. Angels were working. Light was striking. You were not being attacked, you were being defended violently in realms you could not see. And now the prophetic word is this: a new shield has been placed upon your home. Not the old one. Not the previous covering. A new, reinforced, divine barrier has been forged around your territory. This is not for temporary protection. This is permanent placement. The enemy is now on notice. The spirit world has been informed. Your house has been renamed in the realm of the unseen. Sanctuary. Seal. Sovereign. Untouchable. No curse can cross this new line. No word can enter. No projection can survive. This wasn't just about your safety. This was about your recognition. Heaven knows your name. It has been spoken in the courts of the righteous. It has been written in the archives of angels. You are not simply protected. You are pronounced. And with that announcement comes something rare: divine reinforcement. You are not just guarded by Michael. You are surrounded by watchers, stationed at every exit and every entrance. There is no back door to your downfall. No accidental access. Your territory is being held under lockdown by light. Do not doubt what you feel in your spirit right now. That stillness you sense is not emptiness. It is the settling of heaven's order. The war has shifted. The smoke is clearing. And where there was once confusion, there is now confirmation. This spell could have swallowed you, but instead, it activated your assignment. And you must remember this forever. What was meant to bind you became the very catalyst that revealed your covering. What tried to confuse you became the spark that unlocked your clarity. You did not break because you were weak. You broke through because you were chosen. Now the heavens are testifying. The angels are rejoicing. And your spirit is being flooded with the light of prophetic protection. No longer will you walk unsure. No longer will you question the attack. Because now you know. The spell was seen, shattered, and sent back. You were always sealed. But now, you're awakened to it. Type "I am sealed by heaven" in the comments if this prophetic word has found your spirit. Blessing code 1717 is now activating a permanent spiritual wall around your life. This prophetic word carries weight because it's not just for your moment, it's for your mission. If this message spoke to the warfare in your home, your mind, or your calling, then I invite you to sow into the soil where the Word of God is moving. When you support this channel, you're not supporting a voice. You're partnering with heaven to reach souls still battling in silence. Every membership, every super thanks, every seed through PayPal is a holy act of warfare, breaking chains for others just like you. The Lord said, "I will open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing." And when you give into prophetic ground, He pours back protection, peace, and provision. You'll find the PayPal link in the video description below. Don't just hear the word, stand with it. Release it. Fuel the mission. Blessings are waiting on your obedience. Stand up now. Open your mouth. Declare with authority, I break every spoken word not sent by heaven. Because this moment is not just a revelation, it is an activation. This is where the shift becomes permanent. This is where the spell loses not just its voice, but its legal right to exist in your atmosphere. Heaven has done its part. Michael has drawn the sword. The angels have formed the perimeter. The spell has been disarmed. But now, you must rise and complete the reversal. Your destiny is not neutral. It is charged. It is divine. It was spoken long before the words of jealousy ever took shape. And right now, your agreement matters more than you know. Because heaven waits for something powerful, your yes. Your alignment is not passive, it's prophetic. When you open your mouth in full agreement with what God has already done in the Spirit, the final seal is placed. This is not about emotionalism. This is not about how you feel. This is about heavenly legislation. The courtroom of the Spirit is waiting on your decree. Say it, no curse shall land. No shadow shall linger. No projection shall prosper. When you speak that, something moves. Something final. Because the battle is no longer over your soul. It is now over your sound. The enemy fears a believer who no longer just hopes but declares. You are not under siege anymore. You are under selection. God has chosen you to carry the sound of reversal, the voice of redemption, the authority of those who have stood through fire and remained unshaken. There is a reason the enemy launched the spell on October 20. It aligned with something bigger than you knew. There was a calendar in the Spirit, a heavenly announcement on your timeline, something in your scrolls, in your divine assignment, was about to unlock. And so the enemy rushed to confuse, to disrupt, to delay. But instead of delay, you received deliverance. Instead of confusion, you received clarity. And now, that moment, the very one he tried to shut down, is activating before your eyes. So stand. Don't bow to fear. Don't wait for the perfect sign. You are the sign. You are the living proof that darkness can't hold what heaven has already marked. You are the one the curse couldn't claim. And now, every footstep you take in alignment becomes an echo in the spiritual realm. Chosen. Seal. Send. Do not let passivity steal your moment. This activation is not quiet. It is violent in the spirit. When you speak, you break agreements with every lie, every attack, every whisper that ever said you were not enough. When you move in obedience, the timeline shifts. The heavens accelerate what was once delayed. That's why your agreement is so powerful. It finishes what God started. And make no mistake, this is not just about this day. This is about the next chapter. This is about stepping into what was always yours. The spell came because something sacred is near. And the warfare was not the enemy's victory. It was his last attempt to hold you back. But now the gate has opened. The veil has torn. And the calling on your life is not asleep anymore. It is awake. It is burning. It is speaking. Declare it now. I step into divine alignment. I activate my inheritance. I release every delay. I rise by fire and stand by truth. Let the enemy hear it. Let heaven record it. Let your house be filled with the sound of destiny awakening. This is your moment of return. Not to where you were, but to where God has always intended you to go. Type I activate my destiny in the comments if you feel this ignition in your spirit. Blessing code 1999 is now unlocking doors marked with your name. While you slept, something shifted. While your body rested, your spirit remained awake. And in the quiet hours of the night, heaven moved without noise. There was no thunder, no lightning, no announcement. But there was movement, sacred, swift, and sovereign. An exchange was made. A divine reversal was initiated. And you, chosen vessel, were at the center of it all. Not because you begged for it, not because you fought for it, but because your spirit remained aligned when everything around you tried to shake you loose. Yes, there was an attack. Yes, a spell was spoken. But while the enemy sent his assignment through bitterness and envy, God sent angels on assignment through covenant and blood. While the darkness moved with manipulation, the kingdom responded with divine authority. And in the hours when your physical eyes were closed, your spirit was in the courts of heaven, standing in silent agreement with justice. It was there, in the stillness, that what was taken was retrieved. You've been feeling it. That unspoken tension. That sense that something was out of place, but you couldn't explain it. It wasn't paranoia. It was not delusion. It was discernment. Your soul was picking up on the loss before your mind could even name it. Because something had been stolen. Clarity, peace, momentum, joy, vision. They didn't take everything at once. They took it piece by piece. Quietly. Subtly. In the shadows. But what they stole by stealth, heaven has taken back by force. And now, the exchange is complete. Peace is returning. Clarity is settling. Direction is anchoring. The very thing you thought you had lost has been redeemed. Not just restored to its former state, upgraded, multiplied. Seal. Because heaven never returns what was stolen in the same measure. When God retrieves, he revenges. When he restores, he repays. And right now, repayment is in progress. It's not loud. It's not obvious. But it is unmistakable in the spirit. Your tears were not in vain. Your silence was not ignored. Your patience was your weapon. While others spoke against you, while the enemy worked in shadows, you trusted. You stayed. You stood. And in that stillness, a transaction was made. Your weeping became the written decree. Your restraint became the evidence. Your faith became the signature on the scrolls of heaven. And the Spirit of the Lord said, "It is finished." This is why you've been feeling unsettled. Not because something is wrong, but because something is being corrected. You're not anxious. You're sensitive. You're not fearful. You're aligned. The atmosphere has been shifting to make space for the return of what belongs to you. And the weight you feel right now, that's the gravity of spiritual justice descending. It's the divine balancing of scales. It's the echo of heaven saying, what was stolen shall now be seen. What was hidden shall now be handed back. The exchange was never meant to be loud, because real power never needs to shout. What was done in silence is now speaking with impact. You will see the signs. In your peace. In your insight. In your sudden confidence. In the way your space feels lighter. In the way your thoughts become clearer. This is the aftermath of a spiritual reclaiming. This is the residue of angels passing through your atmosphere. So rest now. Rest in confidence. Rest in authority. Rest knowing that nothing was lost. It was only delayed. And now it's coming back, refined and resurrected. This is not the season of wondering. This is the season of witnessing. You are about to behold the very things the enemy tried to convince you were gone forever. But heaven never forgets what belongs to its own. And tonight, what was once taken has been signed, sealed, and delivered back into your hands. Type "IT is returned to me" in the comments if your spirit feels this exchange. Blessing Code 2020 is now releasing restoration over every hidden place of your life. Now the time of reversal has come. Heaven does not sleep on injustice. The Spirit of the Lord does not overlook wickedness hidden in charm. And the words that were spoken against you, in silence, in secrecy, in bitter whispers or false prayers, are now returning to their origin. Because every tongue that rose against you without cause has been weighed, and the scale of the Lord has found them lacking. You need to hear this with clarity. What they spoke returns tenfold. Not because you asked for revenge, not because you desired payback, but because spiritual law cannot be violated without consequence. What they tried to cloak in smiles and shade in polite conversation, heaven has laid bare. The curses they launched are now confronted by the law of divine recompense. The judgment is not yours to carry. It is God's alone. And God, in this hour, is executing righteous justice. Yes, their words were sharp. Yes, their intentions were dark. Yes, they moved with calculation, hoping your spirit wouldn't detect the shifts. But what they didn't count on, what they could not have foreseen, is that your name was already engraved on heaven's altar. They touched what was sealed. They attempted to bend what was built in covenant. And now, correction has been sent into the atmosphere. There is no such thing as hidden warfare in the kingdom. There is no such thing as invisible sin. Everything whispered finds its echo. Everything spoken finds its root. And now, the very projection they launched toward your house has reversed direction. Not by your hand, but by the hand of the one who sees all. The one who marks the righteous. The one who counts every tear and watches every motive. Divine reversal is not a myth. It is not a metaphor. It is a spiritual principle etched into the justice of God. And now it is active. That's why some of the people who once stood near you are beginning to feel discomfort. Not because you changed, but because the light that surrounds you now exposes the shadows they thought would never be seen. The tension they carry isn't your responsibility. It is the weight of their own misalignment. And heaven has declared enough. Let it be known. The scales are being balanced. What was twisted will be straightened. What was stolen will be restored. And what was used against you will now be the very tool heaven uses to build your next platform. God wastes nothing. Even the curses become clay in his hands. Even betrayal becomes a building block for your breakthrough. The same mouths that tried to defame you will become the evidence that you were chosen all along. You are not in a season of confusion. You are in a season of divine justice. The courtroom of heaven is in session, and your name has been cleared. The verdict: vindicated, favored, released. And what was meant to hold you back has now become fuel for your rising. This is not optimism. This is prophetic alignment. Now the Lord says, I will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. That table is not about arrogance. It's about evidence. The ones who tried to curse you will have no choice but to witness your covering. The ones who prophesied your failure will be present for your fulfillment. Not to mock, but to marvel. Because when God reverses a thing, he does it publicly. And when he restores, he does it with fire. This is your confirmation The harm done to you has been seen. The words spoken over you have been reversed, and the justice of the Lord has begun to settle in your atmosphere. Walk in it. Stand in it. Breathe it in. This is not the end of your story. This is the vindication chapter. And it will be written in the presence of those who thought they wrote your ending. Type "justice is mine" through God in the comments if your spirit feels this confirmation. Blessing Ode 2333 is now activating divine reversal over every injustice done in secret. October 20 was not the day of your downfall. It was the day of your divine awakening. What the enemy planned as a date of destruction has now been rewritten in heaven's books as the day of your ascension. You did not collapse under the weight of the spell. You stood. You endured. And now, you rise, not as the same person, but as a vessel who has passed through fire and come forth radiant with glory. Heaven saw the tears. Heaven heard the prayers you didn't even know how to form. The ones locked in your chest, buried beneath the weight of unspoken pain. And the response was swift, though silent. Angels were deployed. Archangel Michael hovered close. The sword was drawn. The boundaries were reestablished. The curse was shattered. And now, in this moment, you are stepping out of the spiritual fog and into the brilliance of divine clarity. Let this be the final word on the matter. You are seen. You are sealed. You are sent. No spell has power where God has placed his seal. No projection can survive where truth has entered. And no curse can linger in a house that has been drenched in obedience. What was meant to haunt you has been broken before it could manifest. The heaviness has lifted. The surveillance has ended. The residue is being cleansed. You are not in hiding. You are in holy positioning. Today, I declare over your life, may your home be sealed in divine light. May your dreams be guarded by the angels of war. May your name be spoken only in blessing and never again in bitterness. May every door the enemy tried to close now burst open by the wind of the Spirit. May your discernment grow sharper, your peace grow deeper, and your authority rise higher. This is not the end. This is the launch. The spell is broken. The light remains. Rise. Rise into the version of you that was always waiting behind the veil. Rise into clarity. Rise into fire. Rise into the fullness of what heaven has declared over your name. Do not look back. Do not return to doubt. Do not question what God has already confirmed. This day, October 20, has been rewritten in the scrolls. Not as a curse, but as a coronation. Type "I rise in light" in the comments if this blessing has touched your spirit. Blessing Ode 3003 is now marking the conclusion of every spiritual delay. You are free. You are covered. You are called. If this message marked your spirit, if it confirmed what your heart already sensed, then let your response be part of something greater. Every seed you sow here is a strike against spiritual silence. Every membership, every super thanks, and every PayPal offering becomes a torch in the hands of someone still wandering in darkness. You're not just supporting a channel. You're building an altar where the broken can hear God's voice. The Lord says, "Give, and it will be given back, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." When you support this prophetic mission, you participate in divine exchange, not just for yourself, but for countless others waiting on a word. The PayPal link is in the video description below. Be the voice that says, "The light will not go out on my watch." Move in faith. Bless what blesses others. Activate your obedience now.